Hey there, this is Akshit Madan and welcome back to a new video. In this video, we are going to analyze this Kaggle dataset that is regarding NASA asteroids classification. This dataset is contributed by Shruti Mehta, and in this dataset, we are provided with the information about asteroids like the diameter, like the relative velocity, and many independent features are there. And we are going to analyze each feature and we are going to see which feature is important for our model, which is not important for our model. So at the end, we are going to make a simple XGBoost classifier which is going to classify the asteroids as harmful, or we can say hazardous, or it is not hazardous, right? So we are going to analyze this data. So let's go to my Kaggle kernel. And first of all, as you can see, I'm going to import the statements like pandas, then numpy, matplotlib. Then using this statement, that is plt.style.use, we can change our theme. I want to make dark background plots or graphs, so that's why I'm using dark background. And one more thing, this video is especially for the beginners, so we are going to take everything from the basic. But prerequisite is that you should know what is a XGBoost classifier, right? Okay, you should know the theoretical part of this model. Then I'm going to import Seaborn. Next thing is we have to read the CSV data. So over here we get the CSV data. So as you can see in this dataset folder, you get this nasa.csv file. So you have to copy this path and you can paste that path over here, right? So what is this? pd.read.csv, that using pandas we are going to read this CSV file and we are going to save this data in a data frame, and that variable is called df, right? So df is going to hold my data frame. Now, first of all, I'm going to run this statements. Now let's read this CSV file and I'm going to print the first 5 rows of this data frame. So as we can see that it contains some reference ID of the asteroid, name of the asteroid, then absolute magnitude is there, then diameter in kilometers, then diameters in kilometer maximum and minimum are there, then in meters, then miles, then there are a lot of features are there. But in these features, some features are useful and some features are not useful. And one more thing I can analyze, that this is the column and it is the dependent feature that we have to classify true or false, whether it is hazardous or it is not hazardous, right? So this is our target class, the last column. Now let's move further, and first of all I'm going to see how many rows and columns are there. So I can see that there are 4687 rows and 40 columns. That means 40 features are there, out of which one feature we have to predict or we have to classify. Now let's see the information about this dataset. So df.info, and I can see that all are non-null. So that's a very good thing for us, that there is no null value in our dataset. And I can see that mostly all the features are float and integer type. And here I can see that there is an object, that means it is a date. But we have to, it's our choice that we have to take this feature or not, because I think that date, because these names then reference id do not contribute to my analysis, my classification. That's why I'm going to drop some of the columns. So according to me, I'm dropping this new reference id, then name, then orbit id, then close approach date, then epoch date close approach, then orbit determination date. So all the dates and all the ids I'm going to drop from my dataset, right? So axis is equal to 1, that means drop the columns, right? So let's run this, and after dropping it I'm going to print my data frame first 5 rows. So df.head, and I can see that all those useless columns are removed from my dataset. Now I'm left with 34 columns. Okay, now as you can see, in the end my hazardous column is in the form of true and false, but I don't want it to be in the form of true or false. I want it to be in encoded form, like 1 and 0, 1 and 0. So I'm going to use one hot encoding, and the video of one hot encoding I've already made, right? So you can check that out. So I'm going to create the dummies. So using pd.getDummies, I'm going to create dummies for hazardous. And if you want to see what is there in this dummies, let's run this. And I can see that there it creates two more columns, that is false and true. And wherever my data will be false, there the false will be 1, and where my true will be there, then true will be 1, like this. So 0 1 1 0 0 1 1 0, like this, right? Okay, now I have to concatenate this data frame with my original data frame, and I can remove this hazardous column now, right? Perfect. This is a simple one hot encoding technique. That's why I'm going to concatenate using pd.concat my original data frame, that is df, and my hazardous labels, right? On the column, so axis will be 1, and I'm going to save this concatenated data frame into my df only. So my df will be updated now. Now let's run this and see the first 5 rows. Now over here you can see that false and true columns are appended, and hazardous is also there. So I can remove this hazardous, right? So df is equal to df.drop hazardous. So hazardous will be lost now. Now let's run this. So hazardous is gone. Now let's run the information again so that I can see. Now I can see that all are float and integer. This column, orbiting body, is an object, right? Then this equinox is also an object. Now if I see these columns like orbiting body and equinox, like this equinox, there are some string values j2000 j2000. So I am interested in finding how many unique values are there in this column and in this one also, like orbiting body and equinox. So I want to find the unique values in these columns. So that's why I'm going to run the dot value counts function. So df at orbiting body dot value count. So it is going to give me how many unique values and what is their count. So if I run this function, if I run this code, I can see that there is only one unique value, that is earth. In orbiting body and in equinox, I can see that again there is only one unique value, that is j2000. So if there are only one unique value, that means that column is useless for me. There is no unique value, there is no more than one unique value. So if all the values are only one, that is earth or j2000, then what is the use of that column? That means these two columns are also not contributing anything to my classification. So only single unique value is present, so both can be dropped. So I'm going to drop these two columns also because they're not contributing anything to my classification. That's why let's drop them. Okay, now my data set is a little bit clean. Now let's see some more analysis. So I'm going to draw a heat map of correlation. I want to find a correlation between every column because I think that there are more columns which can be removed or which are not contributing anything, right? So I'm going to use plt.figure. This is going to draw a figure, and in this figure I'm going to draw a heat map. And inside this heat map, what I'm going to draw in the heat map, I'm going to draw the correlation heat map. That means correlation graph df.core, which is going to find the relationship between every column and it is going to plot that. And anat is equal to true. That means annotation. It is going to plot. It is going to print the correlation, right? So let's run this. So here I'm going to get a very big heat map because there are so many columns. And as you can see, there is 0.19, 0.35. So this is the meaning of printing anat is equal to true. So it is going to print these correlations, right? But as you can see over here, there from estimated diameter in kilometer from minimum to estimated diameter in feet maximum, all these columns have correlation 1. Why? Because they are the same thing, but they are in different units like kilometer, meter, then miles, then feet. Then we can do one thing, we can drop all these columns and we can just keep only one column, because only one column is enough for my classification. Why to take the columns in kilometers, then meters, then miles, then feet? It is of no use, right? So I can drop these columns and I can keep only one column. In the same way, as you can see, the relative velocity in kilometer per second, then miles per hour, right? So I can take only one thing, miles per hour or kilometer per second. I can take only one column and I can drop the other columns which are contributing the same thing, right? And in the same way, this distance also, astronomical distance or lunar distance, kilometers, then miles, right? I can keep only one astronomical distance and I can remove the lunar, kilometers, and miles because they're the same thing, they're the same values, but with different units, right? Okay, I hope you are getting it. That's why I'm going to drop such columns. So these are all those columns which can be removed because their corresponding values is present but with a different unit. So I can keep only one thing and I can remove the other things. So df.drop function I'm going to use and I'm going to drop these columns. So let's run them. Okay, now I'm getting a pure data set with 21 columns. Let's analyze further. Now let's draw final heat map. So this is the final heat map. So these are the final columns, right? Okay, let's move further. Now I'm going to drop the false column. True is enough for classification. What is the meaning of this line? As you can see in my data set, there are two columns, false and true. But don't you think that only one column is enough, true? Because true, one means it is hazardous. Zero means it is not hazardous. Then what is the use of keeping false? Right? We can keep only true and we can remove the false. Right? So that's why I'm going to drop the false. But yes, one more thing. You don't have to write the column name like this. You don't have to write like this. Why? Because it is a boolean, right? That's why you have to remove the quotes and you have to write false as it is, because it is a boolean. Because if you will write inside the quotes, let me do that, and when you will run it, it will say that false is not found in access. Why? Because that is not a string column name, it is a boolean column name, right? So you have to remove these quotes. I did that quotes thing and I was stuck at that point, right? That's why I'm telling you that don't put the quotes. Now let's run this, and it is going to remove the false, and it is already telling it because false is already removed. So let's run the same thing again. Run all. Yes, now the false column is dropped. Now let's see the dataset. So df.head I'm going to run. So I can see that now I'm left with only true. False is also removed, right? Okay, now let's see the description of the function, that is describe description of the dataset. Sorry. So if I run df.describe, so this is like minimum value in this column, maximum value in this column, right? Like this, you can just analyze your dataset using this df.describe function, right? So, okay. Then it's our chance to finally build the model. So we have to divide our data set into independent and dependent variables. So X contains all my independent variables, right? So I'm going to drop the true because that is to be predicted or that is to be classified. So that is going to be there in my Y, right? And X is going to take all the features. So I'm going to drop true and all the other features will be stored in X, and Y is going to store the true column. Now let's run it, and yes, you have to define dot as type int because that 1 and 0 may be in string, so you can convert them into int. So to be on safer side, we can convert them into int so that we our model should not get confused, right? Now the next thing is we have to import train test split from model selection class, and we have to divide our we have to split our dataset into xtrain and ytrain, xtest and ytest, and I'm going to keep my test size as 0.3, right? Okay, so 70% data will be in training and 30% data will be in testing. So let's run it. Now it's our chance to build the XGBoost classifier. So this is the general information about XGBoost classifier if you don't know. But it is a prerequisite, and I advise you that you should know some theoretical part about XGBoost classifier so that you should know what you are doing, right? And XGBoost classifier also provides a built-in function to plot the features which are important. So it is going to print the feature importance of the each and every feature, right? So what I'm going to do, first of all, you have to import XGBoost classifier, that is XGB classifier from XGBoost class. Then I'm going to import pyplot from matplotlib because I'm going to print or I'm going to plot the feature importance of every feature, right? So this is the function that is plot importance and it is present in XGBoost. So then I'm going to make a variable, and this variable is going to store my object of XGBoost classifier, right? Then I'm going to fit the model with my xtrain and ytrain. So training data is fit into my model. Then after this, I can print plot importance and you have to provide the model inside this parameter, right? You can provide the model and it is going to show the plot, right? So it is going to show the importance of every feature. Let's see the output. So as you can see, my data is fit, and after fitting the data, it is printing the importance of every feature. Like what is the importance of absolute magnitude? It is 84. Then what is the importance of minimum orbit intersection column? It is 54. It is 84, then 54, then perihelion time, it is 22. So like this, I can see that the least important column is relative velocity kilometer per second. So this feature may not be that much important for my classification. So it basically tells you the F score, right? Okay. Now let's print the final accuracy. So I'm going to import metrics and let's import classification report also, right? So I'm going to show the classification report also, and let's print confusion matrix also. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to predict the values for X test. So XBG model, and I'm going to predict X test values, and all the predictions will be stored in predictions variable. And ACC, that is a variable, it is going to store the accuracy score, and in the accuracy score you have to provide Y test and prediction. So it is going to compare every Y test value with the predictions value, and it is going to find how many values are matching, right? Then I'm going to print. So what is the meaning of this np dot round accuracy into 100? So if I don't print like this, let me comment this thing because this is a video for beginners. So I'm going to show you everything, right? So let me just print accuracy. So if I just do like this and I can print it, so I can see that it is printing 0.995735, but I want only two values. It's like 99.57, only this much. So what I can do, I can run a numpy.round function, and first of all I'm going to convert this 0.995 into 99.5. That's why I'm multiplying it by 100, as you can see. Let me increase the font. Yes, so ACC into 100, that means 99.5. Now np.round comma 2, that means only up to two decimal places I want to take, and after this I'm going to convert everything into string, and I'm going to put a percentage sign. Let me remove this and let's print this statement only. Yes, so 99.57%. Now let's print the classification report. So I can see that I get the precision, recall, and they are very good, right? F1 score is also very good, support is also very good, then recall is also very good, precision is also very good, right? So final accuracy is 99.57. Let's print the confusion matrix also. So this is the confusion matrix. So by reading this confusion matrix, I can see that only six values were there, 5 plus 1, six values were there, which were wrongly predicted or wrongly classified, and rest every value was correctly classified. So we are having a very good accuracy, 99.57%, and it's your task that you should take a column and you have to apply regression in it. So you have to, at that means you can take any column, like you can take relative velocity and you have to predict the relative velocity, and here you can take the hazardous column as your independent feature, and you can take relative velocity as your uh, dependent feature, and you can predict this, right? So this is your homework and you can do it. So you have to apply regression, not classification, right? And this video was basically for the beginners, so that they should also know that how to start analyzing a Kaggle dataset, right? So I hope it is pretty much clear to all of you, and this much for this video. So till the next content, keep coding, keep innovating, and thanks a lot.